Hello everyone, Ryan here with Product Impressions. I've had this scooter from Hover One for a little while. I couldn't really get it into frame there, but these things are heavy. So I've had this for a couple of years now and I've enjoyed using it off and on during that time. Haven't really had any problems with it, but Best Buy was nice enough to send me this GoTrax XR Pro folding scooter, which looks like it should be very similar to the Hover One that I've been using. So I'm gonna go ahead and open this up and we're gonna check it out, see how these things compare. This one is significantly less expensive. It's entirely possible that's because of just developing battery capacity that has happened over the last couple of years. But yeah, let's go ahead and compare these things and see what we think. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at these now that I have them set up. Here we have the Hover One and the GoTrax scooters. As you can tell, these things are virtually identical, same proportions and all of that. The only real difference that I see is the battery is built into the neck here on the Hover One, whereas it is underneath the floorboard on the GoTrax. As far as the display and controls, we can go ahead and turn both of these on. You can see here speed and battery, and over here speed and battery, along with a couple other random things, odometer, and there also is a gear change on here. So I am curious how that is going to work. To turn on the lights on these, I believe it was just a double press. Yep, there we are. You can see the light on the wall there. Whereas over here we have a light button there, which you just, I believe, hold. Yep, there we are. Now there's the light. There are different speed settings on this one as well. So right now I have it in the red, which I believe is the most high-powered one. Otherwise, handbrake, handbrake, bell, bell. Basically all of the rest is the same. The necks will fold down and connect into the fender that is on the back. It's a little bit more obvious on the GoTrax one because of the coloring. Just before I even actually ride these, I have a feeling I'm going to prefer the new GoTrax one because the weight distribution gets a little bit weird with the battery being built into the neck. It raises the center of gravity, whereas it's going to be lower on the GoTrax, which I anticipate will make things more stable. Also, we can see over here there is a sticker on here saying cruise control, press down for 10 seconds. That I think is going to be very preferable over the Hover One, which the cruise control kicks on after only 3 seconds. So it oftentimes in riding this, I found that the cruise control would kick on, then I would need to hit the brakes before it went out of control. Or not really out of control, but just it has a tendency to have the cruise control kick on and just keep going, and 3 seconds just has it come on too fast. So I'm guessing the 10 seconds is going to be better, at least as far as the area that I am riding in, but it is entirely possible that will be different. The other big difference that I notice here, just in the initial setup, is the Hover One uses a regular air pump, and it actually comes with the air pump to pump up the tires. The GoTrax uses their own different size, and so you actually have to already have an air pump. They do not provide one, and you have to make sure that you don't lose this little adapter. So yeah, I am not a fan of that. I don't know why you wouldn't just have tires that have a normal connection. Also, in making sure that the tires are actually adequately inflated before I take this thing out, it is extremely hard to get this to actually connect to the tires just because of the angle of the connection. So if we take a look down here, where is that connection? There we are. We have the connector here. I will take this off. I'll take off the cap so you can see it a little bit better. It is angled in very severely towards the axis, which means this fender here around the side is always in the way, and it is extremely difficult to get this thing to bend around at an adequate angle to actually inflate the tires. So overall, without even riding it, I'm inclined to say the GoTrax is probably going to be better, but there are a lot of random little things that will add up in frustration. Inflating the tires. Yeah. That's pretty much everything as far as I can tell without taking it out. So let's go ahead and get this thing outside. I'm not entirely sure how well the audio is going to work like this, but we're going to give it a try. to turn this on, you just press and hold the power button. There we go, we are now on. Now let's go ahead and ride around for a little bit. I do appreciate that it takes 10 seconds for the cruise control to kick on, because if I'm just riding around in a parking lot like this, I don't really have to worry about it coming on and needing to abruptly stop or slam the brakes in order to get it to turn off like I do with the Hover Pro. I definitely feel like I'm more stable on here than I did on the Hover Pro as well. I'm guessing that's because the battery is lower in the build, which keeps the center of gravity much lower. I do have it set on the higher setting as far as the speed is concerned. Whoop, went over the speed bump there. Not too bad though. Let's go ahead and take it actually out onto the street. At least briefly. See how it performs on hills. Currently at the max speed of 18 miles an hour. I've released the accelerator, still rolling right along, going back and forth between 17, 18 miles an hour. No issues whatsoever. It has been basically entirely downhill thus far though. All right, before I go too far afield, let's go ahead and turn around and see how it handles on the inclines. Wait for a hole here. You do hear one beep when it switches over onto having the cruise control on. Based on the area that I've been going through the first time that it kicked on, I did not even realize that it had, because I thought it was someone hitting the key for their car and just making the alarm chirp, or the locks chirp, whatever the case may be. Going up this hill here, it did slow down to about 12 miles an hour, but still kept on moving right along without needing to be pushed off at all. A little bit more of an incline here. Not tremendously more. Dip down to 14 and back up to 15 very quickly. So yeah, that was not nearly as bad of an incline apparently. I do have one slightly steeper hill that we're going to go up. A little bit of a bump there as I turned off the cruise control. All right. I'm going to move over onto the sidewalk up here, I think, just because this is a steeper incline and I don't want to be in the way of any cars when it comes up. Now, when I was using the Hover Pro on this incline, it actually was not able to keep moving the entire way. I have dropped down to 11 miles an hour, 10, 9. All right, we seem to be bottoming out at about 9 miles an hour, but it is still moving and I did not have to step off or push it along. So this has much better torque than the Hover Pro 2 does. Now let's turn right around, head on back. Steepen. Need to stop just to adjust this camera and everything. Vibrations knocking it loose. All right. Not touching the accelerator, but definitely speeding up down this hill. Nobody's coming. Perfectly safe. All right, that was a quick little tour. After using both of these scooters for a little while, you would think on paper that they would be virtually the same. But I must say, I am really impressed with the GoTrax scooter. Looking at these, I mean, a lot of the specs are basically identical as far as battery capacity and all of that. Their footbeds here, the panel for you to stand on is basically the same, but it's a lot of little tiny differences that add up to being a tremendously different experience. The board here is a little less than 6 inches wide and something in the realm of like 18 inches long as far as the flat part where you can stand. On the GoTrax, it is almost exactly 6 inches wide, so it's just got that little bit of extra width and it's got a little bit of extra length, and that makes a world of difference as far as how comfortable it is to stand on. This one is dramatically more comfortable. As far as moving them around, I will say the Hover one is a little bit better in that respect. just from the perspective of having the front wheel on the ground all the time, you can pick it up by the handles here, have it basically vertical and just roll it wherever you're going. Whereas with the GoTrax, I found it was easier to typically just pick it up and carry it. Along those lines, both of them are basically the same weight. There's very little, if any, difference to it. Any difference, I would say, is not really significant. I'm taking them up and down 3 flights of stairs when I use them. I don't particularly notice a difference at that particular point when you're carrying them that far. That being said, the power between these two. This one has a top speed of about 16, this one 18. But that really does not even begin to describe the differences that you will see when you are using these. The GoTrax one accelerates very smoothly. The Hover one seems jerky in comparison. Everything about the Hover one makes it feel a little bit more unstable, which is really not what you want when you're using something like a scooter. There's an inherent risk to using a vehicle like this, so you want it to be as solid and safe and stable as possible. The GoTrax is dramatically better in that respect. The center of gravity is going to be lower because the batteries are built in to the baseboard here versus being attached to the neck on this. That drops it down the center of gravity and makes this way more stable. This is way more smooth and accelerating. It does accelerate more. It gets to a top speed of about 18 miles an hour versus the 16 here. That may not sound like a lot, but when you're actually on it, that is a very different experience. When I was going up the hills, you saw on kind of a modest hill, this one slowed down to about 12 miles an hour, and it made it up the steeper incline that I went up. It did drop down to about 9, but it made it up without me needing to intervene at all. I did not have to push it. The Hover one, on that modest incline that I went up, where this one went to 12 miles an hour, the Hover one dropped all the way down to 8. On the steeper incline, this one made it up without a problem. This one could not get up that incline. And it's not like I'm in San Francisco. This is the DC area. There's not a lot of dramatic hills that I'm going up or down, but still the Hover one can't really do it. The GoTrax is capable of doing it. In practice, using the cruise control on these devices, the Hover one kicks in after about 3 seconds. Just in the time that I was using it, I ran it around the same course as I did earlier in the video with the GoTrax. Just in turning around on the street, the Hover one has the cruise control kick in before you even make a U-turn. So if you are going around a corner and you're pressing on the accelerator, it's going to kick in and have you accelerating as fast as it can before you're even out of that turn. Not the case with the GoTrax. This one, with taking 10 seconds, it felt perfectly comfortable riding around in parking lots and on the street and what have you, that it's not going to just kick in and have maximum acceleration and maximum power unexpectedly. That being said, you do have to press the brakes on either one of them to get that cruise control to turn off. This one, on the Hover one, you have to squeeze it and you will feel it jerk. That is an unpleasant experience when you're going at 16 miles an hour. This one, it just kind of disconnects. Yes, there's a little bit of a bump, but you don't feel anywhere near the same kind of jerking that you do with the Hover 1 Pro here. So, dramatic difference there as far as the cruise control and the controls are concerned. As far as the actual displays, the Hover 1 display is a little bit bigger, but the GoTrax is a little bit brighter. The GoTrax also has an odometer on there, so you can see how far that you have gone. Not the case with the Hover 1. So if you have any concern about battery, not only do you have a battery gauge on both of them, but the GoTrax will actually show you how far you have gone since it was charged. So you will have a much better idea of what you are capable of doing with the GoTrax. All in all, having a little adapter to be able to fill up the tire as opposed to just being able to connect any tire pump, I would say that that is a small price to pay. You are getting more power, more acceleration, more torque to go up and down hills. The controls are much more stable. Everything about the GoTrax seems to be better than this Hover 1 Pro. And it costs $400 brand new versus the $600 that this one costs. Hands down, GoTrax is much better, and it has the added advantage of being available in actual stores and not needing to be ordered on Amazon. So if you want to be able to go somewhere and just pick it up rather than ordering and waiting for shipping, you can do that at Best Buy stores with the GoTrax. So I would like to thank Best Buy for providing this to me. They gave it to me for the purposes of writing a review, which I already posted on their website. Otherwise, all of this is just my genuine thoughts about it. I received no further compensation other than having this thing to test. So yeah, all in all, very impressed with the GoTrax. Dramatically better than the Hover one here. So yeah, if you have any questions about this, feel free to leave them in the comments section down below. I'll do my best to answer anything that I can. Otherwise, like, share, subscribe. I will see you next time.